Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Caper Sarah Cody, and we're keeping it geekly with two of our returning guests, Sarah and Alston. We're here to break down Glitch Issue 2 and everything in between. We got Rabble Rouser jumping in to say, huzzah, welcome, welcome, welcome. How have you two been? It feels like almost a year since we last had you on.
It has been about a year. Yeah.
Almost exactly.
Busy year.
Almost a year. So how's everything been? What have you two been up to?
Lots of writing.
Lots of art. A lot of issue 2. It's been really exciting. Very different process than issue 1, which was weird but nice. We had a lot more time, I feel like, this time around to try to get a schedule going. So it's been really exciting to have a schedule. I know I'm an adult, but I'm just like, that's my highlight of the year.
Doesn't it feel crazy though? Like, as an adult, we could have been doing this for years, and it's like the second you do it, you're like, I should have done this forever ago. I got free time now. Like, what is this?
Well, and it's one of those, once you start, it's so much easier the next time around to be like, okay, we've done this once, we can do it again, and just kind of keep fine tuning now that we have like the first round done. So it's been really exciting.
So before we dive in too deep, let's go ahead and kind of give a reintroduction to who you two are, and kind of let's talk a little bit about Glitch issue 1 to kind of just start paving the way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Sarah, why don't we start with you?
I'm Sarah. I write Glitch, co-founder at Wasteland Comics. I have Zephyr with me, as always. I don't have a cat with me, unfortunately. They didn't get the video chat memo, but it's fine. Yeah, I let Alston introduce himself and then we can
Hi, I'm Alston. I'm the other co-founder of Wasteland Comics, and I do the art and design for the series and any design needs we have, really.
And so, go ahead.
No, you're in charge. You lead the room. Go ahead, please.
I can't believe I got that right. So I was going to say, let's kind of talk about Glitch issue 1. This was such an awesome read. We actually get to dive into the Wasteland. I love how you kind of named, how it coincides. But we're introduced to Ari, who is a scav, and Zephyr as well. And I loved kind of just their introductions to, things, the Cactus Clan. We kind of get a little introduction to them and the world and the mystery surrounding it. I mean, it was a very gorgeous read, very gorgeous interiors. Was this like both of your guys' like first time creating a comic, or have you had any experience previously like in the comic industry?
This is my first time writing a comic, and I like to say I'm relatively new to comics in general. Like, I didn't grow up reading comics like a lot of people, so I got introduced to them with indie comics, like, just maybe 5 years ago or something.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. What about you?
Yeah, so I had done like a little bit of web comics before this. I'm gonna do a little superhero comic. I'm gonna do some silly like one-off fandom comics and things like that. But this was my first time doing like a proper big series comic. Certainly the first time doing print. And I had experience reading comics before, but I was really into like manga, which is, all comics are comics at the end of the day, but just very stylistically different. So Glitch is definitely a very big step in another direction. I had to figure out color for this comic. I didn't know color before this. I did everything in black and white. So it's been really fun, and yeah, very, very cool and interesting.
I love that you said that too, because I had a sneak peek at issue 2, so I hope you guys aren't jealous, but the colors in that were just outrageous. They were gorgeous.
Thank you so much. I'm using a lot of palettes these days. I get a lot of input from friends when I'm like, this is too dull and gray, help. And then we just jack all the colors way up.
They're like, more color. We need more color.
Right, saturate the heck out of it.
We have
one of our big advertising points.
Joseph Torres saying, and what a year it's been. The Cactus Clan are such adorable rebels. And James V, yay, indie and original works. Sarah, I'm kind of I'm curious, like, what drove you to want to create a comic? You said you dove into them about 5 years ago. What was the defining moment where you're like, I have a story, I need to tell it?
Okay, so I was working on Glitch as like it was originally a script for an animated short that I had written for like like a portfolio for a video game writer position that I was applying for at the time, which clearly I didn't get. Otherwise, I don't know, things. But I had shown it to Alston as one of my beta readers, and that was just kind of like how the comic didn't initially start there, but Alston had a whole bunch of questions that got it like stirring in my head of how to expand it into more than just an animated short. And then after I saw some of Alston's art on social media, I just like kind of put a comment out there. I was like, hey, do you want to make something with me? Like, we can't make an animated thing, but we can make a comic. Like, that's similar.
And the answer was yes, very much yes.
So were you hoping for that type of question at any point, Alston? Like when you're reading this, you're like, I really want to draw this. Like, were you like kind of hoping for that, or?
Yeah, I mean, in general, like I don't remember at that point if Glitch was the only thing I'd read from you, or if I'd read a few of your scripts, because I was reading a couple of different things in succession around there, and all of Sarah's writing is really like evocative and very like, I could immediately see scenes in my head of some of these moments and different stories and everything. Like, she just has a really visual way of writing for a writer. So yeah, especially when she started, she both allowed me to ask 1,000,001 questions and then came back with answers and a larger story. I was like, ooh, this is your sandbox. I want to respect it, but like, can I play in your sandbox? It's so cool. And she very kindly let me in.
Well, it's funny because anytime you would design things like the Cactus Clan is probably the biggest thing. They started off with such a small, tiny role in the original concept, and then I kept seeing like Alston's designs for these background characters, and I was like, okay, they need to have a bigger role. Like, I love these people too much.
And they actually play a big role in issue 1 too. So I think that's kind of funny that you said that they were going to have a much smaller one, and they ended up like taking up a pretty big chunk. One thing I want to say though is I really love the design of the characters, especially Ari. You know, they have one whole arm that's like a robotic arm with an AI built into it. They use like a hoverboard. I mean, what are some of the influences that went into the creation of this?
I mean, you should probably start with where you started, because you gave Ari to me. She already had a lot of the visual elements that we ended up with. So if you want to take off where she was first inspired by.
That's true. I don't know exactly like a specific inspiration. Like, I know when I was writing the original like short script, I liked the idea of like the kind of red hair. And then as someone who's just like perpetually pale and the sun hates her in a desert wasteland, I was just like, I don't want someone who's pale like me to be the main character getting sunburned all the time. Like, and then the arm, I've always just had like a fascination with like prosthetics and in like sci-fi and fantasy and stuff like that, because you can do so many cool things. And even like nowadays in real life, there's some really cool advancements being made. So I just thought it was a pretty cool way to play with the narrative and have a new way for her to be able to solve problems with like a cool like sci-fi version of a prosthetic arm.
That's so cool. And Alston, when you were coming up with like concept designs, I mean, how did you go about creating those? Did you already kind of, after reading the script, have an idea of how you wanted Artie to look like, or did you maybe pull references from anywhere? I
mean, always a mixture of pulling references first by accident, and then you realize where you're pulling stuff from, and you're like, well, if Full Metal Alchemist is informing me on what a person with a metal left arm is going to look like, let's go even further. Like, let's jump in. But yeah, no, again, like Sarah created a character right from the beginning that I was like, oh, she's like this fiercely independent, to quite her detriment, I think at times, character who's like, I'm gonna lone wolf it. And then especially in the larger story, but even in the like original script, there was a degree of, no, people are gonna befriend you whether you like it or not. You're gonna have like a squad and allies. So I just wanted to lean into with her aesthetics, both like, as Sarah said, we knew from the beginning, like red hair, we knew we wanted her to be darker skinned, we knew a prosthetic arm, and I was like, well, let's lean further in. Like, she's probably somebody who's really practical, kind of, I say simple, and then I went a little overboard with her outfit, but it's fine. She's a protagonist. She's allowed to. But like, I always went into it with like, okay, what are practical things she would need? Yes, I'm kind of doing the shonen thing where I'm giving her goggles because every cool anime character in the 2000s had Naruto
Well, there's
goggles.
sand, right? There's sand.
Yeah, but also sand. Like she's gonna be on a hoverboard. She needs to like protect her eyes from the wind. It's practical, you know. Started adding bags everywhere, just being like, okay, you need to have like a jacket to protect you from the sun, but keep it cool. We kept talking. You'll see it more in future issues, but like about the fashion of the Wasteland, trying to balance protecting yourself from UV sun while also not getting too hot and layered in clothing and stuff. And then just, you know, kept pulling like, I want to have kind of a mechanic look to her, you know, really baggy, rough cargo pants, those kind of like big workman shoes that everybody who's like EMS and firefighters and everybody always have, like steel-toed boots and stuff, and just kept kind of building off of those elements with, again, those like little flashes and flares of like, this is an action-adventure story, and my touch point for that is like manga and shonen heroes and stuff. So let's also give her some flash and flare that she'll like stand out if anybody ever wants to cosplay her, you know, trying to give her an iconic look for that.
I would die if I ever saw somebody cosplay. Like,
where can they get the Zephyr doll at? Is that available for purchase, or is that a custom?
Oh no, this is just like a generic, like cool little kit box stuffed animal that Alston gave me as a coming out present.
I would have never guessed. I literally thought you guys had one like custom made. I'm like, that thing's cute.
One day, this was like at a zoo or something, but like one day we'll get the proper Zephyr plush.
I've been doing research into like makeshift and stuff, because that seems like a really good way to kind of like crowdfund pre-order, because it's like plushies, it's just a lot of space that you need if you're going to make a whole bunch at once, and it's very expensive. So it's like, makeshift just lets you print as many as people order. So that might be cool.
We have some chat happening right now. Hey, Sarah and Alston, and then James V. Hopefully someday we'll have custom merch. So you do have some hype in the chat for that. Let's go ahead and kind of pivot back to Glitch. I really, Sarah, with this being your first script, loved how you layered the different like antagonists in the story. We have the Cactus Clan, which kind of is acting as like the bad, but then you have Knight Rider, who is the bad after that. And I, you know, just the way you went about like kind of building up that relationship between the two, you know, what was the purpose of having, you know, the Cactus Clan and then kind of Knight Rider be like their own like kind of like bad guy too?
Yeah, so the Cactus Clan for me is like, they have a history with Ari. Like there's supposed to be a sense of familiarity between them two. They've clashed a number of times in competition while, you know, scavenging for loot and supplies and resources. So I wanted, like, when she first comes into contact with them, you get that sense of familiarity. She knows how to deal with them. She, like, it's almost like, you know, friendly rivalry kind of thing, because they're all just like teenagers and kids still, which was one of the other things. I wanted to start small in the Wasteland. Like Ari's world is very, very small at the very beginning. She's dealing with like these juvenile delinquents and everything. And then things turn upside down immediately when she's like, oh, this isn't just these, you know, teens that just play around like I do. This is the Knight Rider, who's a legend I've heard so much about and will kill me if given the chance. So that was kind of my way of being like, okay, here's like a baseline, and then we're upping that a little bit, and then we up that even more in issue 2 as we introduce, you know, a little more like the Cactus Clan would hate if I said this, but legitimate threats.
Ooh, they would. They'd be hurt.
Yeah.
Blaine right now is crying right now.
Yes. Yeah, we get into like the bad bandits, who, you know, we get into kind of the adults and everything, which is another kind of theme we'll be exploring as the series goes on, is like old generation versus new generation, and like how Ari and these like teens and kids and everything, the Wasteland will be whatever they will make it become, and then the adults, it is what it is now because of all the things that they've gone through.
So is that like a metaphor for like right now, current day, like world? It feels like it might be.
Maybe.
So Alston, you said the first time you colored was with issue 1. How did it feel to tackle issue 2, already having some of that experience kind of behind you, like this time around?
It helped a lot. There were a lot of things that, just the more you do it, the more it's like, okay, at this point we have like an established color palette. We have established character designs. We have established worlds and settings and everything. So it's a little easier to keep building off. I remember I was actually looking recently through like a lot of our really early concept designs, and I had this real struggle with like, oh, everything looked so disparate and it was taking me ages to come up with like single character designs. But the more we kind of keep working in this world, the more it's like, oh, I can see what this world looks like. I can see what looks like it fits and what's kind of out of place and needs tweaking. And it's really letting it be even more and more fun as we keep working on it. And it's like, okay, the hardest parts of the foundation, we're starting to lay those, and we're starting to get to all those fun things that, Sarah and I have been working on this story for like 5-6 years now. So it's really, yeah. So it's really exciting to, it's only issue 2 when we're already starting to get moments where we get to be like, oh, we can like drop an Easter egg for something that's going to happen in like 5 issues. We can drop like a little hint to these characters who will pop up later. We can drop, starting to get to even begin placing those pawns is really exciting.
So we have some more hype in chat. Custom Zephyr plushie merch, all the plush merch, and then Steve Novak, little late, but yo, welcome to the stream, Steve, and then my good friend Captain B-Dub joining us as well. Welcome to the stream, B-Dub. So without spoiling, I mean, I had the chance to read a 10-page preview of issue 2. No big deal, guys, but it was amazing. I really, issue 1, you had to set the world of the Wasteland. You had to spend time kind of introducing who Ari is, what the Wasteland is. This time around, you really didn't have to. I mean, you had to do still some building here and there, but how did it feel to kind of just dive into like the action, like almost right off the rip? I mean, was that a fun experience for you, or did you have a challenge like kind of diving into that aspect of it?
It was really fun for me. Issue 2, I really had a fun time with the script, and I'll say this because I was, with the way our schedule works, I actually just finished writing the rough draft for number 3, and that was a whole different experience because that has a whole bunch more like action in there. That's very much a struggle for me. So that was like, and this one I get to have a lot more like dramatic action, which was real fun for me to write. And it is a lot of pressure being taken off once like the world has already been like introduced and basically established, and now we're just building on top of it. It's always a very stressful thing for me to be like, how do I establish the baseline in just a few pages and it's still interesting and there's still room for a story and characters and getting to, like, there's so much that got cut from that first issue, like just like ideas, because I was like, there's no room.
Is it a challenge like keeping it around like 20 pages, or is it more?
Yeah, our first issue was 28, and our
28.
Subsequent ones from now on will be 24.
So was it a challenge to lose those 4 pages? I mean, 4 pages is a lot.
Yeah, I noticed that like outlining, it didn't seem like it was going to be a big deal, but then I started actually writing, and I was like, oh, I haven't mastered the art of like putting the correct amount of things in the outline yet on what I imagine will be in each page. And then I start writing it, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't fit. There's too much here. And there's a lot of kind of exposition-y things in number 2, of things that have to be explained, where I start realizing like, oh, there's a lot of dialogue on this page that I need to figure out how to condense and just be a little more economical with my words. And so there's, room for the art to shine on top of the lettering, It's like, you don't want to sacrifice one for the other.
And speaking of art, Alston, once again, your color was just phenomenal in this, but you had some really unique character designs in issue 2, I felt, as well. I don't want to spoil anything, so we don't have to. I mean, if it's shown on the Kickstarter, we can kind of showcase it. But I mean, I just love how you're getting more immersed within this world. It's really showing within a lot of these designs, I feel.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with them. Again, the further we go, the more I'm like, yeah, I can throw a, like, I'm allowed to talk about Jocelyn Boom, yes?
Yeah.
We're clear.
We've teased
Okay.
them on social. Yeah.
I'm allowed to have a shirtless cowboy with just like 2 belts of bullets
I
on
love
him at all
it.
times.
I love it.
Let's go. Yeah. Again, I worry at times that it's very. There's a lot of flavors of character design coming through, but I like it. It's very fun.
Which, actually, fun fact: Jaws and Boom originally were the antagonists in the short that I had written. They were the first Wasteland antagonists.
I love Boom. I love names that are just like the essence of the character. It's like it's a chef kiss.
You get it immediately. I was gonna say, was the Cactus Clan in the original script at all? Like, I think it was just Jaws,
No.
Boom, Ari, and
No,
Dusty.
you know what happened? The Cactus Clan spawned when you were just creating generic like Wasteland character designs and what they were. And there was
Yeah.
that one guy with the insane spiky hair that looked all punk, and I was like, "This is something." And then I made the Cactus Clan after seeing that one.
See,
Yeah, that's the hilarious part. You're getting into issue 2 where you're finally meeting characters from the original script. Knight Rider and Blaine never, like the whole Cactus Clan and Knight Rider did not exist in the original.
That's wild. That is, and that
version.
goes to show you how much the artist-writer collaboration can really just impact a comic as a whole. Like that's a completely different story than issue 1.
hmm
Yeah.
Like without those two, like those two were like a big chunk of issue 1. So it's wild. I mean, so how does that collaboration work between you two? Do you just kind of bounce ideas off and like whatever sticks you kind of run with?
Very
Yeah,
yes and.
pretty much. Yeah, it's sometimes Alston will be doing general concept art, and again, it'll like spark an idea in me if I see a particular design that really stands out, and then I'll go like write a quick character design sheet or something of like their personality and where they might be and like who they might be. And then sometimes again, like we're writing in the script, someone that I write in to just be like a background character or something, I'll then see the design. Like Alston will go crazy with how awesome they look, and
Now
Nobody
they have to
told
be
me
something.
no, so I kept going.
That's awesome.
It's
I love it.
especially these early characters, because I think I can say this without it being spoilery, but there's many factions in the Wasteland that you meet over the course of the series, and particularly these early factions like really lean into characters' individuality. There'll be some later where they're gonna look far more similar, so I won't be able to go quite as wild with the character designs, but right now, while we're like, it's a bunch of teenagers who are all going through their like finding my identity phase, it's like we can throw everything at the wall and just throw a splash of green on them, and that's how we know they're a team.
I love it. So before we dive into like the Kickstarter and everything, what happened in the world of Glitch? I mean, it's technically a wasteland. People are scavenging for parts. They're not able to eat if they're not able to make money. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the story and kind of like what's been revealed in the story, at least, of the world and everything for readers to expect.
yeah, so the Wasteland is, as far as the people who live there know, like the last like place that still supports life on the whole planet. As harsh as it is, even as a desert, it's surrounded by what they call, which we're going to be introducing, but I don't mind teasing in this one. They call them the Deadlands, where if you go
Ooh.
around and there's just like no life at all. Like you think you can travel through and like maybe hunt for food or something, but there is just nothing, because whatever mysterious event ended the world before, no one knows how, but it just wiped out almost all living organisms completely. So it's like, we call it the Wasteland, and it's a bit of an ironic name because the rest of the world really is a wasteland, and this is the place that's brimming with life.
This is the
Brimming.
thinnest oasis that you can find.
Yeah.
It's the only life left in many ways.
Mhm.
And then Alston,
yeah.
oh, go ahead, sir.
I was just going to say, but the world before was a very high-tech, advanced solar punk civilization and everything, which is where we get a lot of the fun designs and stuff. For it's not just like traditional post-apocalyptic, where we can have a little more fun with our scavenged designs.
And I was going to ask Alston, what type of people can we expect to meet in this world? I mean, I know we talked about some of the cast, some of the more popular names, but like, what type of inhabitants are in the Wasteland?
Ooh, this is a tricky question because I'm not in charge of spoilers. Sarah, holler at me if I give away too much too early. Like we've alluded, I think many times, there's lots of bandits. There's lots of different factions who are kind of all vying for power. With Cactus Clan being very extremely on the low end of it. Again, don't let them know, but they are the weakest power in the Wasteland. But then there's, of course, like anywhere, there's plenty of cities and civilizations that are just normal people trying to get by day to day, and they all have their little power struggles and everything. But we, again, without too many spoilers, in a future issue, we will be getting into some of the more like towns and cities of the Wasteland, and we're kind of going for like an Old West vibe, those little like not entirely lawless towns that people are just kind of in the middle of the desert, making it work, getting by, building community, but also, little deeds and trades can be going on under the table. And sometimes you just have to kind of let the bandits run through and steal from the banks, and then they'll get out of town and you build right back up afterwards. Like, I think that's really at the heart of so many of the characters and the world of the Wasteland, is like horrible things happen, thieves, bandits come through, there are natural disasters, and then we scavenge and rebuild.
I love it. Let's go ahead. We're going to pull up the Kickstarter. We're going to go through it, check out all the hype, and give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and switch right over.
Awesome.
And of course, my thing is not working right now. Let me go ahead and try to fix that.
Technology is the worst. Like,
I know,
we love it.
I know.
It's the core of our story, but
Piggybacking off of Alston's like teasing of characters, we have been throwing in small teasers to like an organization called the Death Stalkers, which we'll be continuing to tease until we're ready to introduce them, because they're like the big bads of like the Wasteland, like Ari's this little
on
teenager.
the Cactus Clan to Death Stalker timeline. Where are you?
And for everyone that is watching, right here is a link. Be sure to check this out with us. It is free. It's 100% free to put this on Twitter, Facebook, anywhere you can post a link. Costs you absolutely nothing to spread the word. But click on it and back it today. It's a good day to back and get an awesome book already at $1,157. Holy crap.
Thank you, guys.
I know. I love you all.
So
we have the best backers. I'm just a big fan of them. Thank you guys so much.
No, you really, I mean, the last time we did this, you guys, I think, funded in what, an hour? It was wild. I was floored.
That was insane.
That was, like 10 minutes in, it just kept exploding. So thank you guys. This we can handle. This is not as overwhelming. Thank you.
And then if you guys are interested, you can read the issue 1 for free just by clicking on this link. Click that link I put into chat and read this for free. You have nothing to lose. Let's go ahead and check out some of these preview pages. And like I said, the colors in this are just so good. I love how like it's just dark and ominous right here, and then you have like the splash of orange right there behind the character, and like right here, I mean, these colors are just great. And then the Crocodile Dundee vibe with this guy is just phenomenal.
Literally Crocodile Dundee and cowboy, no shirt, let's go. Like, did a little bit of the hot fuzz, gotta have 2 big guns coming out the back.
Yeah. So what's up with the jaws? I mean, why give him like a metallic mouth?
That is that honestly just started off as just a random character design idea that I was thinking of just like, what if there was this bandit with this real over-the-top personality who called himself Jaws the Rock Eater and went around telling people that he tried to eat a rock one day, broke his jaw, and this is his little like metal prosthetic.
But you know something happened where it was like he tripped and fell and busted his shit. It wasn't anything crazy.
you have nailed Jaws' character to a T. That is exactly what he would say. Like that's exactly what would happen.
He's over here like, I defeated a stone golem all on my own. I ate right through him like cannibalism, and all the small children are like, ah. And then reality, it's absolutely like just tripped getting out of bed one morning, and that's what you get now. It's tall tales.
The colors in this are just gorgeous as well. I mean, it's phenomenal with this design right here for this character. Just kind of like the digital like kind of like creation, like right here where it's just forming them. I really loved like just everything in this.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really fun. Again, so much easier when we already had like the last issue, like I was really throwing colors around trying to find like the style of this comic series. So it was so much easier to go in and be like, okay, I already have like a baseline. Now how do we just like tweak it and punch it up and really like nail it home? Again, aspiring artists, highly recommend palettes. They save your life. Just find some pre-made palettes and play with them. It's incredible.
Was there any significance with like the red in the panels and then like kind of the green right here?
Mixture of color balancing and also trying to pull your eyes to the panels that were going to be the most important. I knew in the next panel we kind of wanted to allude to like this calm room is suddenly like lighting up with red warning alarms, so I knew that I could start pulling that red in early. So we had several like really action heavy panels in page 2. Those like small little pocket moments. And so I was like, okay, we have 3 of these, but I don't want to overwhelm people. I want to really be able to guide your eye to what matters the most. So it's not necessarily as significant now, but you know, Ari getting, what do we call it? What do we call it as in spoilers? Ari's little cut on page 2 is going to be very important.
Gets on her neck. Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
and the
and
buzzing
then Jenny,
noises and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I knew there was importance there. I knew it. It was teased enough, and then by the time I was done reading, I was like, man, now I'm left.
See, and
wanting
that's
more.
an example of something we planned really early. That we hope on like a reread once like the first arc is done, you'll just be like, oh.
So those are the Easter eggs I was talking about that hopefully they pay off at some point, but it's moments like that, or again, glitching in and out is very important. Her whole like emotional journey is part of one of the major issues in issue 2.
I really love like the holograms too, the way you were able to kind of design this keyboard to come off of this. It's very cool. Like, was that hard to do?
Very, very hard. That was something in issue 1 that I was never quite pleased with how, like, they came out fine, the holograms in issue 1, but I always knew I wanted to kind of keep fiddling with them and try to keep moving forward with those designs. That's always the key thing with comics that's difficult to swallow at first, is like I always want to go back and keep fixing the old, and it's like, no, we're just going to keep moving forward and we'll just keep experimenting with new things. So getting that little keyboard to pop up and trying to work on, you know, what degree do I want holograms to sometimes be completely solid? Because it's, you know, like with Glitch, she's a main character. Like sometimes she really needs to take over the panel, but other times, how can I hint at like, these are, you know, light-based objects that are being blasted into the scene that you can interact with, very Iron Man-like, and you can play with them, but that is light. It's not.
I almost wish we could zoom in too, because like the detail in this panel, like you just have the holograms, like the colors, like in the holograms, but even the buzz at the top, a lot of people probably won't even notice that unless they're eagle eye. Just, it's so subtle, but it's like perfect. I mean, I just love the attention to detail in this.
Thank you. The buzz was like our favorite thing. That was one of my favorite things with this issue, is early on, again, without spoiling, that's going to be very key for some plot points later. And we knew that we wanted to emulate this like overwhelming feeling of sound. Like, again, when this was originally animated, it was very easy to be like, oh, this would be a soundscape thing. But how do you translate that into comics without it being overwhelming? Like, enough that you can't ignore it, but not so much that it consumes all the rest of the page and the art. So that was like, I was very excited to like figure out what I hope was a pretty effective little like blending that sound effect into the background of everything. So it's both everywhere and easy to miss.
No, I did not see this my first read through. I just noticed it like while we were talking. I'm like, holy crap, that says Buzz right there. Like, that's so cool.
It's everywhere. You can't escape the buzz.
Real quick, we have James V, WoW 10 backers, Rabble Rouser, you're welcome, Aru-chan, and then GMads01, Steve Novak is the shiznit. Shout out, Steve.
Which, I mean, shout out to James. James is our letterer in chat. So
okay.
Like, yeah.
Thank you for keeping an eye on things.
Thank you for all your hard work, James.
His incredible lettering is just, thank you.
And then right here we have Jaws and Boom getting a little bit more proper introduction too.
Yeah, we want to give them their ominous introduction on the first page and then really like let them shine once they really get introduced. Yeah.
And I just love how he has the bomber suit too. Like it's just it's perfect, honestly.
The boom guy is definitely dressed for
booming
bomb demolition. It's great.
And
yeah, they're very fun.
I really loved how you guys gave, Blaine like time to shine as well. I kind of got the vibe he wasn't as bad of a guy as I originally thought.
Yeah, my goal with Blaine is like a lot of people have those misconceptions about punks, that they're just like they're no good, they're bad, whatever. But like punks, they take care of their own and they really care about their people. And like that's Blaine, and it's the Cactus Clan kind of in a nutshell, where it's like they're antagonists in the sense that they're against Ari a lot of times. But again, they're a bunch of teens and kids just surviving out in the wasteland on their own. Yeah, they want to be bandits one day, but it's fine.
That's a very viable career in this economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for real. Even in this one, the real one.
You know what? That's true. I like to think of Blaine as like your slightly misguided older brother who's just like absolutely going to look out for you, but also a little bit teaching you how to hotwire a car. And you're like, well, okay.
Just in case I need to know this. So we have
very worldly.
The standard cover by yours truly, and then we also have this other variant that's like really trippy looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was really excited to work with Heather Vaughn because I've seen her work on so many Kickstarter, and I'm just like, her art style would be so perfect for like the themes in this issue specifically. So I was really, really excited to collaborate with her on that one. So yeah, in this campaign, you can get the standard or the variant, your choice, on any of the tiers that have the physical copy. We're not going to charge extra for the variant. So it's just like, I just want, if people want it, they can have it. And it's only available on the Kickstarter. So that's kind of its exclusivity there. That's
so cool.
Selling that at conventions.
What made you guys want to do the variants at the same cost? That's a really awesome move.
Honestly, I just kind of I wanted it to both be exclusive and accessible. Like,
okay.
if people are going to be backing us from the very beginning, I want them to have this cool thing that's not necessarily blocked off by cost. Especially like nowadays, things are so tough, like financially, and like, the economy is like we said, banditry is looking pretty good.
At least for groceries, right? Like, please.
Yeah. So I was just like, all right, the variant, it'll be nice and exclusive because you will only be able to get it on Kickstarter. So now is your chance to get it, and it'll just, it'll be the same as the standard, but the standard you can find at conventions and when we eventually start selling on our website and stuff.
And right there is the link for everyone that is watching. Pull this up, check it out with us. If you're able to back, we would love to see it, but just put this on Facebook and Twitter. That's free. You have nothing to lose by spreading the word. Let's go through some of these reward tiers. So you have Scavenger, which gets you a digital postcard and the digital stretch goals at $1. So that's awesome. What are some of those digital stretch goals?
Ooh, okay. We can tease the first one is going to be a nice digital wallpaper for like your laptop, your iPad, and whatever the Android tablets are. I'm an Apple person, if you can't tell. Your phone.
Get that trash away from me.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I had to do like 18 crops of that wallpaper because I am an Android, and I'm like, I don't know how Apple works. None of these
the
fit.
phones
What's
are
wrong?
different. Yeah, it's that turned out to be a lot
Terrible.
more of a logistical nightmare than we thought it was going to be. But so there's that, and then I don't think we've technically revealed them on the page, but I'm cool with like saying it verbally on like a thing. We'll have.
If you're cool enough to be in chat, I feel like
if you're cool enough to be here and in chat, you can get some inside info and help us get to these stretch goals fast. It's fine. But yeah, we wanted digital people to not, feel left out with stretch goals because I feel like that tends to get forgotten a lot. So we're going to be including what we're calling the Glitch Diaries #1 and #2, where number 1, we're going back to number 1, and they're going to be some just like thoughts and insights from Ari's perspective, looking back on the events from issue 1. So you kind of get her perspective on the things that are happening. And then number 2 will be doing the same thing, but for issue number 2.
Sort of an inside look. It's like the novelization of a movie, kind of.
That's so cool, though, especially from the perspective of the protagonist. Like, that's a really cool idea.
Mm-hmm. And then we have a couple short scripts that we do plan on producing at some point, but as stretch goals, it would kind of help us prioritize it because of financial security. And so that would be available to digital backers as well. So like if we got all of those and you only did the dollar one, you can get 2 short comics in there. You're really not paying much, so
Yeah, a dollar's nothing. I mean, and then just for 4 more at $5, you can get issue 2 PDF and then the digital stretch goals as well. So I mean, save up a couple bucks and just get the book. At 15, you get the physical copy, and you're going to get your choice of standard or variant. Very awesome of you to make that move as well. The Delver
for US shipping is included in these prices.
Oh,
Not for
really?
international, but US.
Hey, and if you're
shipping
international,
is
you can get
expensive.
digital as well, because that'll save you a handful on that. But and then the Delver, so physical copy of issue 1 and issue 2, right?
Yeah, that'll be our catch-up tier.
That's so
we don't have
cool.
a digital catch-up tier because you can download number 1 for free right now. So like, why do you need to wait for the Kickstarter end to get it? You can just get it right now.
And then here's another cool one: Mercenary, a Bad Bandits enamel pin. So who's the Bad Bandits?
So the Bad Bandits, I realized a little too late that we didn't officially use that title in issue 2, so we're throwing it in issue 3. But that is like the duo name for Jaws the Rock Eater. And
Okay.
Boom, they are the Bad Bandits. That's one of those things I'm still learning between screenwriting and novel writing and stuff. Is in a comic, you have to have someone say it at some point in order for it to actually be in the comic.
You can just get like a little sticker and put it like an air bubble, air balloon. Like
It's like a bumper sticker on their ATV. It's just
Yeah.
like, we are the Bad Bandits.
and then you can market it like free peel away sticker.
They have their phone number underneath. Like, if you need any mercenary work done, call us at 888.
Yeah,
And
so
then-
this is like a line of enamel pins that we're going to be releasing as the issues go on to kind of represent the different factions as we introduce them. So we had like the Cactus Clan one last issue. We had the Bad Bandits this issue. We'll have a new one next issue that I won't tease because that'll be real fun.
Can't you, though?
when it
They're one of my
actually happens.
favorites.
can't you?
Oh, okay. Well, Sand Pirates is all I will say.
Oh, let's go. And then I wonder, are they going to be something in the Deadlands? This is getting really enticing. At $50, we have the Hero tier, which is a metal print of issue 2. This thing looks like it's going to be gorgeous. So this is just going to hang. How big is this thing?
It'll be comic sized because it'll be a lot easier to transport. And I think it'll just be nice for people to have like a more, like I collect a lot of art and metal prints and stuff from conventions. And I realize like the big ones, I just stop having enough space to like adequately display them. So
If you would get rid of some of your furniture, you'd have more space.
Yeah,
but-
make more
Yeah.
space.
that's true. My cats like my furniture though. So I have to. So we're doing
But yeah,
comic
it's like
size.
comic
and plus that
size,
helps.
so.
Yeah, and that'll help us save on shipping too. So it's not like insane.
And then we have the merchant tier, which is going to be for you retailers out there. You can get 10 copies of issue 1 and issue 2 at $75. Outstanding price on that. 20 comics for that's probably what, a third of the price, a fourth of the price. Like that is outstanding.
That's about as low as we can go. Comfortably.
Yeah. The collector tier, you can get metal prints of both of the variants. That Heather print's going to look just crazy.
It's gonna look so good in metal. I'm
pretty.
so excited.
As an artist, there is nothing more flattering than people like doing art of your characters or art or anything. And it was just I won't we already talked about it, but just the variant art is so cool, and when you guys get to meet Sandman, you're gonna understand. It's just
Yeah.
Ooh, Sandman, let's go. We have Rabble Rouser. The enamel pins will forever hang out on my corkboard in my office. James V, we're really excited to partner with local comic shops soon. Yeah, that retailer tier is phenomenal. We have Legend. So get a personal Sand Pirate themed alter ego that will make a cameo in issue 3. So you can be in the book in issue 3 for $150, and you're in there for life. This book is around for life. So that's an awesome price there. Are they going to have like a speaking role, be a background character? Has that kind of been determined yet?
Background for now. I'm playing with the idea of speaking role tiers at some point in the future. I'm not like comfortable like advertising that like right away because I'm still kind of learning the whole like economy of space on a page, and I don't want to promise people lines that might get cut and like in the end like it's like ugh.
the
but yeah,
amount of
like, you'll
editing
be-
that happens between the
Yeah.
outline and then
Maybe
the
you
script,
get a
and then
sound
even when we get to
effect.
the art phase, we're just constantly like, oh, that doesn't actually fit. Okay, take it out.
But like you'll see the people who got their nice Cactus Clan commissions last Kickstarter, they're going to be showing up in issue 2. And so if you see scenes with different Cactus Clan members in there, that'll be some of our backers.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. And here's some of the stretch goals as well. So at 4K, we got that digital wallpaper. At 4,500, a vinyl sticker set, 5,000 trading cards, and then the rest are locked. And I love the honeycomb look to this. This is cool. Like I've never seen a stretch goal thing done up like this. This is awesome.
I
hope it works. It's one of those I've been looking at so long. I'm like, this makes sense. And I'm like, can other people read it? Is that legible?
I'm really excited for the stickers, guys. If people can get us to those stickers, I want them.
I know I'm not allowed to say that as my art, but like they're pretty cute. I got crowdsourced opinions on them.
I think they're awesome as well. I think they are awesome as well. And then we have the add-ons right here. Let's go ahead and go through these two. So the Cactus Clan enamel pin at $5. That's probably the cheapest I've ever seen for an enamel pin. They usually go, what, like $15, $20? So awesome price on that. The button set, these vinyl stickers, the trading card set, the Zephyr sticker sheet. Holy
I love the
crap.
Zephyr sticker sheet.
Yes, with the glasses and the tie.
Yes, I love Nerd Zephyr. He's my favorite.
You just made the cutest little mascot. We're very appreciative. Thank you.
Holographic trading cards and stickers and issue 1 Kickstarter exclusive oil variant cover as well.
We have a few of those left. That is a very limited add-on, I will say. I think there's only like 10 that we have listed because we just have a few
the
left
pet
over from printing.
commission comic cameo. This is awesome as well. I got my cat right here, like wanting to jump up on my lap. Like $100 is outstanding. This is cool. Is there any sort of stipulation to this? Like, I see this one's wearing a jacket, so you can have them wear like, a little bit of clothing here and there, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really up to you.
Yeah,
so so for last issue, we were deciding they're kind of all in sort of a Wasteland gang. So we like to kind of suggest items and whatnot that'll like really help them blend in with that Wasteland look. But no, not really any limitations on like what kind of pet or anything. And like Sarah said, one of the comics that we are going to release at some point, and again earlier if we reach the stretch goals, is Wasteland Tales, Tails.
I love it. I love it. That's so
Following the pet
good.
commission.
That is so good. And then of course here's Bella needing to get on the camera. She never ever jumps and says hi. Miggy, my boy cat's jealous. He just left the room.
Oh no.
And then here is the team. So we've already talked to you two. Let's go ahead and give a shout out to the other two on the team.
Yeah, Dee Dee and James. I love
They are
that.
our rock and foundation. Thank you so much. James does so much of our project managing and lettering, as we said earlier, and then Dee Dee is our editor. She, quite frankly, out of all of us, reads the most comics, and I'm just always like, what do you read comics for? Tell me more. Tell me the process. So it's really great to like get her viewpoint on storytelling and catching, what's going to work well in the story and not.
Yeah, because I get so in the weeds when I'm doing outlining and scripting and everything. It's really nice to have someone else paying attention to like pacing and continuity and letting me know if like something that I thought made sense isn't making sense to someone with an outside perspective, which is very helpful for me because I'm like, okay, I know all this stuff, but how much of this stuff are other people getting? I don't know.
Pacing,
what
is
pawns
that?
we place, and she's like, what is that referencing? And we're like, oh yeah, we have to explain that. Okay, hang on.
And then
It's
people
been in our
reminding
heads
me
for
like,
so long.
make sure Zephyr's in the scenes, and I'm like, yes, I tend to forget him in dangerous scenes because I don't want anything bad to happen to him. Sorry.
But also, he's our money maker. You have to remember Zephyr.
Zephyr is very adorable, and I loved how they were utilized in issue 2. Like it was very clever. I'm not spoiling anything, but the way you two utilized Zephyr was very clever. I loved the ingenuity. I mean, issue 1 we seen Zephyr make the play where Ari was getting like kind of held from behind, and then Zephyr like chomped, and I was like, let's go! Like this dude is like on it.
Yeah.
That is the sidekick you want in the Wasteland.
Yes, this is the Kickstarter in its entirety. So everyone that is watching, already up to 16 backers, $1,660 all together. Let's go ahead. I already copied and pasted this URL.
Thank you guys.
Let's get this dropped in chat. And if you haven't checked it out already, be sure to pop it up. It's free to look at. It's free to share. It's and then $5 to get the PDF. Outstanding price. Have nothing to lose on that. Whoops, I went to the wrong screen. There we go. So after going through that Kickstarter in its entirety, why should people back it? You know, for anyone who is maybe new to the series or anyone who might be on the fence, you know, why should they back issue 2 and, you know, get this book in their hands?
Oh, well, we're pretty cool.
Because Zephyr is adorable.
And Zephyr is adorable. But in all seriousness, though, I think we've come up with a really fun story. And one that's accessible to new comic fans and old comic fans alike, especially because, again, I was still relatively new when I was writing it, so I wanted to write it for people to also get introduced to comics in the way that indie comics introduced me to comics. And I don't know, I think we focused on the fun, but there's really important like themes and there's a lot of heart in it. And I think that becomes a lot more apparent as we go on and, you know, we move past the introduction to the world stages and get to dive a lot deeper into like the characters themselves, where it's like, you're still gonna have fun, but you're gonna feel things too. And that's okay. I intend for you to feel things in issue 2.
We're gonna hurt you. You're gonna hurt.
But it'll be worth it.
It'll be worth it.
I don't think I've ever heard that before. I'm intrigued. Austin,
you're
is there
gonna
anything
suffer,
else?
But you'll be happy about it, you know.
So is that where you want to leave readers on, or do you have anything else you want to add to it?
I would just say, to add to that, like, one of the things, I mean, obviously, selfishly, you know, I hope you back us, because I love telling this story, and I love an excuse to go another year at it. But also, you know, one of the things I know that I look for a lot in stories is a world that I want to play in, even outside of the story that's being told. And Sarah is telling a wonderful story. I cannot stress that enough. But she's also been building this really incredible, fun world that's just fun to inhabit. Like, that's one of the many things that drew me into this. So, you know, I hope the Wasteland is kind of a fun and imaginative world that, like, gets other people excited about their own stories and their own ideas, and, you know, I welcome you to join the fold and, like, hang out. We've got some really exciting groups and characters and places coming up that I hope build a continually intriguing sandbox.
You know, so I'm gonna be honest, we didn't even really have time to talk backstage, but because there's technical difficulties on my end, like galore, like, oh my goodness.
My end, terrible.
After I read this, I wanted to start working on stuff of my own. I loved the it just on a reel, like, this is the first time we're talking about it, like the storytelling and just the kind of, I wouldn't say the art direction, but you could definitely tell, like, your experience with colors, like, definitely you grew with it. And it was invigorating to kind of see where you two went with things, because I wasn't expecting that. The 10-page preview was definitely, like, I was like, whoa. So if you guys haven't backed, like, now you should back. It was definitely inspiring, because I'm like, this is just, I did not, you know, like I said, you know, I took the script class so I can see the beats, and the way you guys, you know, had to spend time introducing the world and just who Ari is and everything, and, like, you were able just to jump into things. I'm like, wow, I cannot wait to get to my issue 2. Like, this is, like, awesome to kind of see how it's done.
Yeah,
that's really nice to hear. Oh my gosh, that makes me so happy.
And I can't wait till we're done with this interview, because then I can, like, give you guys, like, kind of like my real thoughts without spoiling anything.
I want to hear about your issue 2 after this interview. We have to get into that.
So,
which, I mean, people, if you want to see those 10 pages, we're going to be unveiling up to page 10, depending on how many backers we get. Those are our backer milestones.
So how many backers do you need?
We need, let me double check. I think it's 200 or 250, because we had like 150 last time, so I wanted it to be like, we're improving. Yeah, page 10 gets revealed at 250, and it's every 50 backers. So,
ooh, that's a really cool idea too. Every 50 backers, you're gonna drop a page.
Yeah, and some inside info on characters, because I know people kind of, you know, you don't get to express too much inside the comic pages themselves. So it's like, oh, here, I'll just give you some information on them that maybe you'll find out.
Again, we have 6 years of info up here. We're just like, we want to share it all with you, please. We're so excited about these characters.
I know last podcast we asked a question, and I asked kind of a generic question, like advice for anyone looking to dive into, respective, like what you guys respectively do, writing or art,
Yeah.
Let's kind of do a different twist on that. So for anyone who did take that first step, what should be their second? They just started their first script, or they just started doing art in sequential form where it's, they might be ready to start doing comics. What would you guys say in your respective roles should be like maybe the next step for them to kind of just up their game?
Let's see. From my perspective, I think making sure you're reading a lot of like newer up and coming like indie comics, I think is really good, because you can learn so much just from like taking it in. Like when you're trying to, become a screenwriter, watching a bunch of movies, even like not even just like reading the scripts, but like watching movies, you learn a lot. You're just subconsciously taking it in. But also like making sure you're not letting go of the fun in it, because after you've started, it's really easy to kind of forget why you got started in the first place, and you're tempted to start thinking of your work as content rather than art. But you don't want to fall into that trap as much as social media tries to make you think that. It's like you're not making content, you're making art, and to let that show, because that's how your heart and soul are gonna come through to people in what you're writing.
I love that. I love that.
And stick with the community. You can't do it on your own. So, interact with people online and at conventions, and make friends with other creators and fans, and because then you're all there for each other.
Those artist-writer combos, it's like, where do you guys even come from? You get the best of both worlds. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'd second all of that, and then just say, I feel like a good second step after you've kind of done your first draft of anything is immediately simplify. Like, I think when you're doing your first draft of anything, you don't really know what you're gonna need until you've done it. Like, you can't get a good sense. When I was doing a lot of my early character designs, for example, like I couldn't get a good sense of like what is gonna read well on a page, what's gonna be interesting, what's gonna be easy to draw 25 times, and what's gonna be a pain in my tuchus. And so once you've kind of started doing that and actually playing and practicing, seeing what you're like, I can immediately be like, these things are a lot of extra work with very little reward. How do I focus on the things that really make my story special and make it shine and make it interesting? And how do I stop wasting time on the parts that like are just not helping,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just starting to streamline, starting to be like, this is what makes me excited as well. Like that's the other part of it, is streamline what makes it like faster and easier, but also like the parts that excite you are going to be the parts that connect with other people. And I think especially when you're starting your first story or your first art, you really get drawn to like, oh, this is what's popular. This is what everybody is doing. I need to do this for people to look at my stuff. And just as you keep going, ask yourself like, okay, but I'd rather, at least personally, I'd rather have people who are really excited about the same things I'm excited about. So let me get into some of the like less popular stuff, but the stuff that's really going to get that deeper connection. So
well, it seems like it'd be harder to develop your own unique style if you're just following the trend as well. Like, take time to kind of shift into what you do to kind of develop your own unique approach to it.
Yeah, exactly. And then again, you attract the people who are also interested in that. And same to what Sarah was saying, you start building community and you start finding people and other creatives who like just excite you. Like even what you were saying now, like I feel that way about so many people in this community. Like I go to conventions and I might be, burnt out and tired after several weeks of like doing art for a bit, be kind of lagging and looking for something to inspire me. And I go to a convention and I see all these other small creators like coming up with these incredible comics and ideas and this, that, and the other. And I leave just like completely juiced up and ready to
it's like
do another round of things.
It's like that meme. It's like when you're dead and you drink a Red Bull and then it's a skeleton, like just like hyper zooming. It's like, but now you're just dead, just really fast.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's nothing
that.
as simultaneously exhausting and invigorating as going to a convention and making friends with all the people around you in Artist Alley or Small Press, wherever you're going to end up.
Absolutely.
Every time we're done with a convention, there's just 3 days where we're on this high of like, we are getting everything done. We are planning for the next 6 years. We've got all these ideas. And then there's after like 3-4 days, we like hit a wall, and it's like, okay, we're gonna crash for 2 weeks, and then
it's
we'll
like
be back
2 weeks
to
of
normal.
like I can't do this. That is awesome.
And then it equals out. You have to have a high, a low, and then you're back in the center. You're good to go.
So outside of creating, let's start wrapping this podcast up with a little bit of like kind of what you guys been up to. So outside of creating, what are you guys consuming? You know, video games, comic books, TV shows, books. You know, what are you guys doing in your free time?
Most of my free time has been tabletop RPGs, D&D,
Ooh.
and Monster of the Week, because that's like my bread and butter is characters, and it keeps me sane.
Do you
in
GM
a
or
world that makes no sense.
is it
no,
GM
I'm
or DM?
only a player.
I sound like a boomer
well,
right
GM
now.
is more generic. DM will be specifically D&D. GM is a nice all-encompassing term. But that
GM is more
intimidates me.
inclusive.
I'm afraid that my writer instincts would make me a bad GM,
Well,
because
actually-
I'd start railroading characters into like a storyline that I have an idea of, and I'm like, let me just stick to my one character.
That's awesome. So just tabletop, nothing else for you? No TV shows you could recommend or any books that you've read?
I've been watching TV. I always blank when people bring this up. It's not something I'm recently watching, but I really like the show Ghosts. That's
Okay.
a really fun show. And I really like the show Resident Alien. That's another one, but these aren't like on right now, so it doesn't feel like super relevant.
Just to be relevant, I've been absolutely on the nostalgia bus, so pull out an oldie.
Good Omens. I watched Good Omens season 2 recently, and that was really good. And I'm really looking forward to Black Flag. What Our Flag Means Death. Yeah.
I'm gonna be so normal when that drops.
Otherwise, I read Monstrous recently. It's a really, really beautiful comic book that I need to read the second volume. I've been putting it off because I've been so busy, but it's really, really pretty and good. Yeah.
Austin, what
Otherwise, it's
about
just been
what about you though? Any video games or tabletops or books for you?
Yeah, so for video games, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm
good.
still working on the main plot. No?
No, I love it. So good. I got.
Okay, I was
right
like,
here.
excuse me.
I got
don't think you can
Link.
talk anymore. Okay, this is
I
over.
got Link, and then he's wearing
Yes!
Thor's head, and I call it Think.
That's so good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
I
posted on Twitter, got 3 likes. I'm like, you guys suck. This was hilarious.
That was incredible. They were It was a sleeper hit. You'll get your notes. Yeah, no, I had the like pre-sale, and I'm just still I'm trying to savor it. So I'm like 3/4 of the way through the main plot, but just taking my time with it. And then yeah, I've honestly been on a big nostalgia binge lately. So I've been like rewatching stuff. So a lot of like House MD and Jeeves and Wooster, which is like an old, originally a like functionally like a novel sitcom from the 30s, and then they've made like a TV show, several, but the specific one I've been rewatching is from the 90s. So if you just want like goofy shenanigans and hijinks, soft and fluffy, you go Jeeves and Wooster. If you want goofy shenanigan hijinks and medical malpractice, you go for House.
I don't know if I should feel hurt when you said that's old. I'm born 89, so ouch, I guess. Dang.
Hey, I'm 93. I get it. It's just also BBC, so it like it looks like 50 years old. Like, I love it. It's a great show. It's very fun. It is technically like 20 years old, and it looks about 50 years old.
So I've been watching a lot of gory anime. It's a weird balance. Really gory anime, and then Grey's Anatomy.
Ooh, the medical dramas. They're just coming back.
Season 1. It's, George. I can't get enough of them.
What's the anime?
Neon Genesis.
I've heard
yes.
a lot about that one. I
It's
haven't seen it
really
yet, though.
good. It's really good. I just heard, what was this one I wanted to check out? Cyber Ghoul, I think. It's a really graphic, gory one that's like 80s or 90s, I think. You see those Facebook reels of like these crazy, and then you go in the comments, and you always know it's like going to be like anime name. It's like, okay, thank you. This is the champion right here. Thank you for this. And this one just like was like people's heads exploding. I'm like, okay, like I made a post. I'm like, everyone thinks I watch anime. It's not like the lovey-dovey anime. It's like my mom's gonna question if I need more therapy after seeing this anime. Like
me at 14 years old, I realized immediately. I was like, I love Full Metal Alchemist. I'm like 12, and I tried to show my grandma once, and she was like, "Is that blood?" And I was like, "This is not. This is not
that
for
a
you."
girl
Okay,
dog?
okay.
What is this? Like,
No.
so
Yeah,
everyone
I was very quickly like, never mind.
that is watching at this point, right here is the link to check out this campaign. Let's get it funded tonight. Let's get wild with this and let's make that happen. It is time for us to wrap up, though. We are officially over that hour mark. This is a hell of a show. Thank you too for coming on and launching with me. I felt, I cannot tell you how like honored and like just ecstatic I was that you reached out and wanted to come back on for another launch. Like that always makes me cheese. Like that's if you're listening, more of that, guys, please. Like
You're one of the cool ones.
oh, thank you.
It's always such a great experience interviewing with you. Please, you're a delight.
And it's always a pleasure chatting with you two. Let's make this happen. Let's get issue 3. Let's get another launch party in the future. You guys know what to do. Hit that link, share it. It's free to do that. But back it as well. You're going to have an awesome time with this book. It's time for us to wrap up, though. I hope you all have a lovely Tuesday. But most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.